Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. mypillow.com. Promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome back, and I appreciate you joining me today as I continue my voyage across Alaska. Today's port of call, Sitka, set on Baranof Island facing the open Pacific, a working waterfront wrapped in mountains and history. Just picture a harbor dotted with fishing boats, sea otters rafting around and hanging on the buoys, a skyline crowned by snow-streaked peaks. There's no highway here either. You'll fly in or sail in or come in on a cruise ship like me. It feels remote in the best way, self-reliant, welcoming, and just Alaska wild. Sitka was once the capital of Russian America until 1867, when the U.S. flag was raised on Castle Hill during Alaska Purchase. Before and after that moment, this was and is Tlingit land. The 1804 Battle of Sitka between Tlingit clans and Russian forces is commemorated here, not as a museum piece, but as a living mystery. You can talk with some of the locals, and it's been passed down from generation to generation. You can feel it. You can see it. Clan crests, totems, form line art, carving sheds, stories carried forward by master artists and cultural bearers. Walk the totem line trails at Sitka National Historical Park, and you're walking through a classroom literally in a rainforest. Bald eagles are everywhere. I just love seeing them. Never get tired of snapping a photo. Humpbacks bubble net feeding, stellar sea lions barking on the rocks. Across the sound sits Mount Edgecombe, a classic volcanic cone in the Khrushchev Island. The Tongass National Forest wraps it all, moss, cedar, salmon streams, and just literally miles and miles and miles of great trails. You can stroll the Totem Pole Trail. You can see the Russian bishop's house. You can step into Michael's Cathedral, visit the Alaska Raptor Center, a fortress of bear, charter a boat for whales and halibut, or hike Harbor Mountain for a panorama that I promise you will just stop you mid-sentence. You may want to start thinking about this and plan to join us next year. Again, it's the former capital of Russia, America. It's a top-tier humpback and sea otter viewing area, and as mentioned, nowhere is there a road to the mainland. So the constant debate of fixing our roads over here are just a second thought. About 8,000 to 9,000 call this place home. Of course, fishing is a big thing. Tourism is a big thing. They love seeing our cruise ship come in. Education, healthcare, and a whole lot of community spirit. Long summer nights. It doesn't get dark here until very, very late. And, of course, when the winter rolls in, it gets dark and it stays dark for quite a while. No neighbors show up and help each other. You really feel this sense of neighborness and friend helping friend. Standing on the boardwalk, you smell the salt and the cedar in the air, and I'm reminded that America's strength has always come from builders, whether it's builders of boats, homes, families, and futures. From the Tlingit carvers to cannery hands to today's skippers and shopkeepers, Sitka is proof that craftsmanship and grit still matter. And speaking of builders and speaking of that craftsmanship, our guest today knows all about building, teams, and culture, and now houses. Jeff Scott went from the sidelines at Clemson, winning national titles, pressure cookers, Friday night lights, to launching a custom home business here in the Upstate. How do the lessons from Death Valley translate to job sites, clients, and craftsmanship? What's different, what's the same, and what's next? Up next, Jeff Scott joins us to talk about going from playbooks to blueprints and what it takes to build something that lasts. That's up next. America is in a health crisis, and by America, not just strangers across the country. It's personal. Me, you, friends, and family. And a major cause? Excess weight. Joey Hudson here. The solution isn't expensive shots like Ozempic. It's learning how to eat and think about food differently, and that's what PhD Weight Loss does. Their clients lose up to a third of their body weight, no drugs, just real food, behavioral coaching, and proven science to turn your body into a fat-burning machine. Sure, you could spend up to $20,000 a year on injections that burn muscle, not fat, and come with risks like pancreatitis or bowel blockages, only to gain it all back. PhD helps your body naturally produce weight loss hormones like GLP-1s, no shortcuts, just results that last. Already on Ozempic? Dr. Ashley Lucas and her team will help you safely transition off and keep losing weight. Let's make America healthy again. Call 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com. If you're from South Carolina, you probably know the name Jeff Scott, former Blythewood High School coach, co-offensive coordinator at Clemson during their national championship runs. But what you may not know is he's now building more than just football programs. He's building homes, literally. Jeff is now the founder of Haven Valley Homes and some other businesses, a company that is right here in the Palmetto State. Jeff Scott joins us now. Coach, good to have you on the show.
Absolutely. I appreciate you asking me.
Sure thing. Let's just start off with the obvious. I mean, how do you go from calling plays at Clemson to pouring concrete and framing houses?
Yeah, that's a really good question right there. I was fortunate to coach football for 20 years and loved my time, coaching. Obviously, my 12 years at Clemson was absolutely, incredible time and something that, my family and I will never forget. Then my time you mentioned there at Blythewood High School way back, a couple of years out of Clemson and being able to help Blythewood win a state championship was an unbelievable experience as well. But even though I've only coached for 20 years, I've been a coach's kid for 42 years. And so really it's the only thing that I've ever known. And, after my time at Clemson, I got the opportunity to go to South Florida as the head coach and really thought I would continue coaching for a long time. And then when that ended, after 3 years, I was kind of in a position with some young kids at the house. At the time, my daughter was 7 and my son was just, turning 3 years old. And, the coaching profession can be somewhat like the military where you move around a good bit. And honestly, it probably speaks a lot for my love for the upstate of South Carolina. My wife and I, after our time was over in Tampa, we looked at each other and said, let's go home to Clemson.
Yeah.
And let's put down roots. Let's raise our family. I just love the beautiful area that we're in. I've always enjoyed real estate. Obviously, being a coach, you don't really have a lot of time to do a whole lot of stuff in real estate. But I told my wife that I was probably at some point going to retire early from football, and I probably thought that meant in my early mid-50s maybe. It just happened a little bit earlier, and I've really enjoyed it. Obviously, there's things that I miss from coaching, probably relationships with the players and being with the coaches, all day and
Sure.
that bond that you have. But outside of that, I've kind of been open to a whole new world in business.
Yeah.
And not many coaches get an opportunity to come back to a place where they developed a lot of relationships, like I was fortunate to do in my 12 years here at Clemson, and now be able to do business with a lot of the people that I got to know through those 12 years. Usually a coach coaches the whole time, retires, and so that's been fun being able now to use some of the relationships and connections that I made through coaching to really, help as we're, building our building company and developing.
Sure. You've been around the championship culture for a long, long time, many, many years. You, again, as mentioned, you've helped build championship football teams at Blythewood. If I remember correctly, I think I remember reading that you won that state championship. That was your first year of coaching. Is that right?
Yeah, it was actually the first year. Blythewood High School was a brand new school, And that was our first year of varsity football.
Wow.
I was 3 years out of Clemson. I'd been an assistant coach. Whenever I graduated from Clemson, I was an assistant football coach at Ridgeview High School for 2 years. And then Ridgeview got so big there in the northeast part of Columbia that it opened a new school, Blythewood. And I went over there to be the head coach in our first varsity season. Yeah, we had an unbelievable run. I went 14-1 and won a state championship on a last-second field goal. So,
wow.
If remember the Titans came out about 2 years before that. If it wouldn't have, I think we could have had a chance to make a movie about that season, because we had pretty much. I think we only had 2 seniors on the whole team. It was all juniors and sophomores, and that definitely is one of the highlights of my coaching career.
Oh, I can imagine.
Great experience for those guys.
Yeah, my guest today is Jeff Scott. So how much of that football leadership shows up now as you're running your businesses?
Yeah, it's actually probably a little bit more than what I maybe thought going into it. I think, first of all, the coaching profession is so demanding from a time standpoint. I mean, the majority of the year as a coach, you're leaving your house at 6 a.m. and you're probably pulling back in your driveway after 10 p.m. And so now what I found out is, when the maybe normal business world kind of starts at 8:30 or 9 o'clock and shuts down about 5 o'clock, I'm sitting here looking for things to do. So I think, number one, just the work ethic definitely carries over. Organization, again, being able to coach and be along with Coach Sweeney's side from day one. Literally the day he took over as the interim head coach, I was right there in his office with him and got promoted to kind of replace him as the wideout coach. So to watch him for 12 years, I mean, he's a team builder. He's a culture, builds a great team culture with the players and the staff. I think, recruiting, I mean, that was a big area that I was able to hopefully have an impact with during my time at Clemson. And I've seen that carry over. And, instead of recruiting a 16 or 17-year-old T. Higgins, I'm now recruiting a husband and wife. They're looking to, kind of build their dream home. But the sales aspect, it really comes down. I think what makes, Coach Sweeney and his staff such good recruiters is, and I know my time there at Clemson, I could sit down with a young man and their parents, and in the first 5 minutes, their mom would say, "I trust you. There's something about you.
Yeah.
You're genuine. You're real. I can trust you." And I think those same qualities carry over whenever, we're meeting with clients and, helping them design and hopefully build a house for them. They want to be able to trust who they're talking to. And so hopefully that's been another thing to carry over.
Sure, yeah. You've coached some very successful football players, Hunter Renfro, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Williams. Do you find yourself looking for the same type of characteristics that you look for in football players when you're hiring people for your business now?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a great point. It's all about people. I mean, people make the place, people make the business. And again, another thing that I learned from Coach Sweeney is hire, great people, support them, and then retention is key. And I think one of the big parts of our success at Clemson and Coach Sweeney's success at Clemson now is the retention. There's a lot of people on that staff that have been there for a long time. And so as I'm looking to build out, my businesses, I'm looking for, number one, character, integrity, people that are going to do the right things, that are going to represent, myself and our business in a first-class manner, even when I'm not around. And then I'm also, looking for people that want to be a part of that team culture and hopefully want to, be with me for a long time, because I think that's what separates. I see, certain businesses, you have a lot of people that kind of move around every year, and I'm really looking for the people that want to, kind of grow where they're planning to get in there and give them an opportunity and a path to grow their career within our business.
Yeah. Let's go back to your time at Clemson, 2 national titles, a culture of excellence. What moments stands out to you as maybe a defining moment, a memory of your coaching career that prepared you for your business career?
Sure. Well, I think there was definitely a couple there at Clemson. One of the earliest ones was our win over LSU in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. I think that was I mean, LSU, I remember a funny story. We went out there, in LSU. I mean, LSU had some monsters on their team. I mean, they were just huge. I think it ended up coming out that 20 of the 22 defensive players on their two deep ended up getting drafted. And so I remember going out in pregame and I was talking to Tony Elliott, and LSU was just out there in their T-shirt and shorts and throwing the ball around a little bit. And I told Tony, I was like, man, that's a great group of linebackers over there. Yeah. And he looked back at me and said, Jeff, that's not the linebackers, that's the corners. I said, what? Those are the corners. They're all 6'3", 220 pounds. So anyways, that win coming back from the 4th and 16, and, that's really one that at Clemson we looked during Coach Sweeney's tenure as kind of that first really big win where we said, you know what, we can do this and we belong with the best. And so that was one big moment. And obviously, the two national championships, the first one in Tampa, was so special. But, coming off the year before, making it all the way to the championship game and coming up short and, not knowing if you're ever going to have that opportunity, to be back again and then to be able to come back and be able to finish it off in a kind of a last second. I always joke whenever I'm speaking. I said, man, I was so fortunate. I'm one of the only people that got to tackle their boss at work and then still get a raise. So those are just some great moments and just, remembering. One other maybe memory I would share that I think is really important is, learning Coach Sweeney's attitude of belief is something that I learned and saw the power of. I can remember after his second year as the head coach, we had a tough season. I think we finished 6-7. We had a tough loss to South Florida in the bowl game there in Charlotte. And that's when Twitter was just coming out. And I remember being on the bus after the game, just looking a little bit on Twitter. And the media were sharing some of Coach Sweeney's comments from the press conference after that South Florida game. And I think that was 2010. And Coach Sweeney said, hey, we're starting a new decade. And I have no doubt in my mind that this next decade will be the best decade in the history of Clemson football. And I can remember myself after that game just thinking, does this guy really believe this? I mean, how can you say that? But he did believe it.
Yes.
And he saw what was coming. And so that attitude of belief, I really learned a lot of seeing that and the power in that and speaking that into your players and your staff and in your culture. So those are probably a few of the memories that stand out to me.
Yeah, Coach Sweeney certainly is a motivator. He's an encourager. One of the highlights of the year for my wife, Peg, and me is we support the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And as you know, that's a big part of the Clemson football program. And sure. Coach Sweeney, he always has a fundraiser at his home in the summer to support that program. And we've been going to that for years. And I just always leave his home so encouraged. I'm ready to conquer the world after spending the evening with him.
Yes, he's one of those rare people that he just oozes with positivity, the attitude of belief. And, I just tell, I've had an opportunity to travel all over the country. And when people hear that I worked at Clemson, they may ask me about Coach Sweeney and how he really is because, may see certain things on the media or whatever. And I was like, listen, whatever you think about Coach Sweeney, he's 10 times the man than anything you see out there. And he's the same person every day. Yeah. And, that's just, one of the reasons he's been able to have the impact he's had during his time here at Clemson.
All right, so you mentioned LSU a minute ago. Of course, that's coming up in a few weeks. You have any predictions?
Man, I'm excited about it. Like I said, I've got young kids. My daughter is 10 years old. She was really young during our run, and so she doesn't remember a lot of those games, but she's excited about this one. She has one of her best friends from Florida and her friend's dad coming up to the game, so we're really excited to go watch. I just know as a coach, you have such a better off season and such a better fall camp of all the practices leading up when you have a really tough opponent in game one. There's just a focus among the players that's different than some of those years that you may, open with an FCS opponent or somebody like that. And so, and then with this new kind of era, there's a lot of these, off-site games, neutral site games. So to be able to have, such a big opener right here in Death Valley for a night game is going to be incredible. But, I definitely, I live 2 doors down from Coach Sweeney, so I'm still here and around and keep up with them. And obviously it's a long year with the way the playoff system and all that is, but I'm really excited and definitely not betting against the Clemson Tigers this year. I'm looking for them to have a really big year.
Yeah, well, it's going to be exciting for sure. With me today, Jeff Scott. Many of you know him, of course, as Coach Jeff Scott, but he also is a successful business owner, builder, real estate development. Coach, talk with us about your business. I know Haven Valley is one of those, a custom home builder, but you have others as well. On your website at Haven Valley, you say that you're building dreams one home at a time. What type of responsibility do you feel when someone entrusts you to build their home, regardless of the size?
Absolutely. Well, anytime, a client's building a home, a couple's building a home, and this is one of the largest investments that they're going to make, in their entire life. And so, especially when you're building a custom home, I mean, these are prototypes. These are a one of one. There's never been a house, like that house built when we're building a true custom home. And so it's a long process. It can be an emotional process. The big thing that I talk to our clients about is, we're going to be very transparent, going to communicate very well with them, and really, be an advocate for them all the way through the process, helping them, with the prices on the vendors and the subs and all those things, really trying to help build a very a special home that they'll enjoy for years and years and have great memories with their families, but have it be a enjoyable experience, not something that, they dread or sometimes, it's very rare that clients are still talking to their builder at the end of the build. If they're still talking to you and have good things to say about you, then you really stand out and are doing a great job. And that's really what we are aimed to do here at Haven Valley.
Yeah. You've been vocal over the years, both in coaching, in your business, daily life, about your faith. How does your Christian faith influence how you lead your team and serve your clients?
Sure. Well, I think number one, and I've been fortunate, having a great mentor in my father, who was, a great Christian role model for me as a young kid growing up, and watching him coach at Florida State and have the highs of winning a national championship at Florida State there in '93 as the offensive coordinator, and then, coming to South Carolina and having some up and down years there, and then, being at Clemson and watching Coach Sweeney at Clemson. The biggest thing that I learned is, football, whenever I was coaching, that's what I do. That's not who I am. And, as a Christian, I have such a stronger calling than just being a coach and just, being there to win those games. And so I think having that mindset, knowing that my foundation is on my relationship with Christ and not on my title as a coach or platform, whatever, within the kind of sporting world. I think that helped me as I made this transition from football into real estate and doing something else. But I think at the end of the day, we're called to, as Christians, to let our light shine. And obviously I'm a sinner just like all of us here. But I hope that I live my life in such a way. I hope that I use my words in such a way to have an impact on people around me in my community, in my neighborhood, and in the schools, and then within our own business and within the clients, that maybe somebody would look and say, there's something special about that young man, and hopefully, they would see Christ in me. And so that's really kind of my what I live for, is to really let his light shine inside of me. And no matter what you're called to do, you want to do your best. And those are some things that I definitely, take from my faith into as a coach, and then also now into business.
Wow. Yeah. Jeff Scott with me today. Let's zoom out a little. As we've discussed, you've worn a lot of hats: coach, recruiter, leader, now business owner. What's been the most surprising lesson since entering the business world, coming from the coaching world?
Oh, wow. That's a good Great question. Well, one thing that I've learned, and this is not me trying to brag on myself at all, it's really just kind of a motivation for people just to do the right things. What I've learned in the business world is if you do what you say you're going to do, you be a man of your word, a man of integrity. If you communicate well, you call people back that call you, you respond, take time with people. If you can do those things in business, you're immediately in the top 10% of people in your field. Because, I mean, I can't tell you how many jobs that we've won with building clients where the client said, one reason we're choosing you is because if you told me you were going to call me at 3 o'clock, you called me at 3 o'clock. And some of these other builders, they didn't call me back for a week later. And we're talking about some, $2 million plus dollar jobs. And so I think that's one thing that I've learned is just if you do what you say you're going to do and you truly, are a man of your word, then all of a sudden you're in the top 10% just with those qualities alone. And so that's something, and as a coach, if you didn't do that as a coach, you're not going to last very long as a recruiter and controlling your own room and all those type of things with your players. So that's been great to see that carry over. And whenever we're hiring team members, I'm definitely looking for men and women of integrity. They're going to do what they say they're going to do, communicate well. And, that's really important to us.
Yeah. One final question for you. With me, Coach Jeff Scott, founder, owner of Haven Valley. You can get additional information on their website, havenvalley.com. But you also have, your partner in another business as well, Newton Scott Signature Homes. What's the distinction between those two?
Yeah, well, Eric Newton is like fifth generation Clemson man. His family have been builders in the Clemson area for a long time. And Eric's a Clemson grad as well. We had some friends in common, and whenever I got back from coaching and got into some real estate stuff, I asked him to go to lunch, and one thing led to another, and him and I have now partnered on two businesses. One's a brokerage, Newton Scott and Associates, where we're a real estate team where we help clients all throughout the Upstate, whether they're looking to buy or sell homes, land, all types of stuff there. And then we've also partnered, as you said, with Newton Scott Signature Homes. And so, we felt like there's a place in the market. Obviously, there's a lot of growth happening in the Upstate. There's a lot of production building, which there's definitely a place for that. But we felt like there's a good number of people coming to the Greenville or Upstate area outside of Clemson easily that are looking maybe for that nicer kind of semi-custom home, kind of in the price range of $700,000 to $1 million homes. And that's really what we're focused on there. We've actually got a couple Clemson staff members that will be building houses for them. So that's kind of fun for me on the other side, working with them and now being able to build their house is pretty cool. But yeah, we're doing that all throughout Greenville, all the way to Clemson and up around Lake Kiwi. We have a really nice subdivision in Clemson that we'll be putting out more information later this fall. Hope to open that in January, and they're really excited about that project as well. So I kind of spend half my time overseeing my team at Haven Valley and half my time with Eric on the Newton Scott side, and so it's definitely been enough to keep me busy.
Yeah. One final question in closing here for young folks who may be listening to us. Maybe they're chasing a dream in football or maybe in business, or they're just trying to find their way in life, find the direction. What advice would you give them about staying grounded and what role their faith would play in finding that purpose in life?
Absolutely. And again, a lot that I've learned has been, my time watching my dad at Florida State under Bobby Bowden, who was absolutely incredible, and then to spend the same amount of time under Coach Sweeney at Clemson. And, the biggest thing that I've learned is, if you don't have, your faith in a great spot and you don't have that, relationship with Christ, then, you're never going to know true peace because you're always looking to fill that void, right? We're all kind of built with that void in our life. And And I believe, my belief is that, Jesus Christ is the only one that can fill that. But, in our society, we maybe look to a lot of different things, whether that be to job or money or drugs, alcohol, whatever, to fill that void. And the only thing that truly will is that relationship with Christ. So that's number one. And then the other thing that I would say is, I've been fortunate to be around and witness in both sports, athletes, coaches, but also in business. I've been around a lot of the best of the best. And what I've learned is the best of the best have an internal standard that they set for their own life that's consistent in everything that they do. And so, you can't be completely committed, at work, but then not be committed at home. You either are committed and you are working to be your best in everything you're doing, or you're not. And so sometimes we may live by external standards, right? You take a job and they kind of have this standard that you have to live up to. But then you may take another job and there's a different standard. Again, the best of the best have that internal standard that they set for their own life. And they try to just live to that and be the very best that you can be in everything that you do. And if you do that, then that's how you become a person of excellence. But again, without that foundation with Jesus Christ, none of that other stuff really matters or truly could come to fruition.
Yep. Jeff Scott, thank you for your time today. God bless you, and good luck as you continue your business. And it has to be satisfying to you coming back to the Upstate like this and just really building a legacy.
No, well, I appreciate you having me on. This is a very special place for us right here in the Upstate of South Carolina. I have so many friends and developing even new relationships every day. And so I appreciate the time, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
Sure thing. Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Firmin Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the Upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Firmin Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Firmin Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Firmin Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Firmin Ford online at firminford.com, firminford.com. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code JOEY. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.